Good afternoon everybody, and welcome to another video from Untitled Travels. So first of all, I apologize for my absence. I know I haven't made a video for the last couple of months or so, but anyway, let's get into it. So today we're going to be talking about what it's like to live in Serbia and whether you should consider moving here. Guys, I think there's some military exercises today or something. I'm hearing cannon fire. And I think I hear helicopters now, so there's either military exercises or we're being invaded by Albania, which I don't think we have to be very scared of, to be honest. Oh, everybody, you probably can't see that, but in the distance there, I can see 3 helicopters. There's no zoom on this camera, unfortunately. Oh, look, there's another 6 helicopters. Oh! Another 3, everybody. There must be military exercises, and we're not going to be trying to take back Kosovo today. Okay, everybody, I'm going to try and get closer to where all this is going on and see what's happening. Right, everybody, you see this display of military might. So other countries watching, you better watch out, because Serbia doesn't mess around. Salam alaikum. Okay everybody, so if you haven't figured out already, I'm strolling around in the Kalemegdan fortress here in Belgrade, Serbia. So this is one of the main tourist attractions in Belgrade, and it's right in the center of the city, so it's a wonderful place to hang out, especially in the evenings. Come here late afternoon, evenings, nighttime. It's really nice. Okay everybody, so let's talk about life in Serbia. So for now, just relax, okay? Forget about partisan and divisive politics. Forget about who killed Charlie Kirk. Was it really some student who was sharing a room with his transgender partner? With his dad, the sheriff, in the next room? Or was it something to do with Mossad? Okay everybody, so let's talk about the main bullet points from my point of view about living in Serbia. So if I meet somebody who hasn't been to this country, to quickly summarize it, I would say very friendly people, very tasty food, and great weather. So as you can see today, mid-20s, perfect weather. It doesn't really get too cold in Serbia until about December, and winter lasts until February. Guys, I'm really being treated today. Untitled Travels has been lucky once again. Look at that. I got the best view in the house, everybody. Don't know what kind of planes they are. I have to be careful I don't have an influencer moment and fall off here. Sorry guys for going off topic, it's not my fault. It's not every day you see this in Belgrade. Oh guys, check it out. It's like Apocalypse Now. Can you picture what will be? So limitless and free, desperately in need of some stranger's hand in a desperate land. Da 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 da. It's Operation Remove Kebab, everybody. Pretty much every helicopter in Serbia seems to be out at the moment. Check it out, everybody. Alright, at this rate everybody, I'm going to have to change the title of the video to Air Show Serbia. Hey everybody, so let's go back to talking about life in Serbia. So, as we can see, it's very relaxed and idyllic here in the park in the center of Belgrade. Some families around, people just chilling. So let's get on to the next topic for this video, which is safety. So by and large, this country is very, very safe. So as you can see, everything is very normal and civilized on the streets here. There's no crackheads or other sketchy individuals, generally speaking. You do get a reasonable amount of homeless people here, but they're generally harmless. Okay everybody, so let's go on to the next topic for this video, which is lifestyle. So today is a Thursday and it's lunchtime, so you can see how busy it is here on the main street, and how civilized it is, how safe it is. There's no dodgy crackheads or people fighting or anything like that. You get a few homeless people and beggars, but not too much. From looking around at the moment, you're probably thinking, wow, it's Thursday afternoon. Why aren't these people at work? But yeah, like I was saying, they just have a different lifestyle here. So they place a lot of emphasis on social time together. So they don't want to work all day long for the man. So yeah, they might work a bit earlier on in the day, take a couple of hours off, few hours off at lunchtime, then maybe work later in the day. I don't know exactly, but it would be overly simplistic to call these people lazy. Because as far as they're concerned, they've got a good work-life balance. Because you know what it's like in the West, everybody's being told to achieve what you want to achieve in life, you have to work hard as possible, but it doesn't always work like that. You can be working for 12 hours a day, but you can be in the wrong job for you and you can be miserable. And the more hours that you work, the more tax that you pay. So why bother selling out your life like that if you have enough money to survive on? But everybody, it's not like nobody's working hard in this city, because there are people that do work very hard. They've got multiple jobs, and with the rising cost of living, which we're going to talk about soon, it's necessary for a lot of people. So they haven't got much time to slack off, or not slack off, relax too much, let's say. Check it out everybody, breakfast buffet, 690 dinars in a Sri Lankan curry restaurant. I'm not sure I want unlimited curry for breakfast, to be honest. Now also guys, what you have to remember is that there's no jobs in this city, unless you want to work 40 hours a week. Now everybody, going back to what we're talking about with regard to the lifestyle here, there's a big emphasis on eating out as well. So there are restaurants everywhere. You're never far from food here. And you've got every kind of type of food, from simple takeaway places to mid-range, and sky's the limit with regard to posh places. So it's still pretty affordable here. I mean, prices are going up in Serbia, but the restaurants are still pretty affordable compared to elsewhere in Europe. So Serbia, everybody, is very renowned for its food. And I'm not talking about Michelin star restaurants, because we all know that you can get excellent food in pretty much any city in the world if you pay the price. But I'm talking about just regular, healthy, good quality food. Now, I think there's quite a low amount of genetically modified food here in Serbia compared to other countries. I think in the UK it's something like 40%, in America it's about 60%, so the quality of the produce here is really, really good. And I'm a man of simple pleasures, you know. I'm happy pretty much to eat Serbian food every day. I don't need to hunt out exotic food like, I don't know, ramen and Japanese food. Now everybody, something I wanted to say is that you can never quite judge your YouTube audience, and I think in my last video I gathered that my sense of humor is a bit too dry and deadpan for some people, alright? So I'm going to try and make it a bit more obvious, I suppose, in future. So everybody, like I was saying, in Serbia you have amazing food, a good social life, fantastic weather. It makes you feel young again. Talking about looking young, I met this Catholic priest who was absolutely convinced that I was 16 years old. The problem was, everybody, I was only 8 years old at the time. Now everybody, as we can see in Belgrade, we've got Serbian flags all over the place. So we can see we've got these Serbian colours going all the way down Nezmihajlova here. Got the Serbian flag to the left there. And up the top there is a Montenegrin flag. I suppose that's the Montenegrin embassy. So isn't that a contrast to the United Kingdom, where the national flag is seen as a hate symbol? I don't know if you've been paying attention, non-Brits, to what's happening in our country at the moment, but it's an absolute disgrace. So it's been nice to see the uprising recently, where people have been flying the English and the British flag. So yeah, everybody, Serbian flags absolutely everywhere. So it's a nice middle finger to the globalists. So that's another thing we have to talk about in Serbia, everybody, is social cohesion, because we can see in countries like the UK and the USA, it's very, very divisive and partisan, the politics. They've split us into left and right, nothing much in between. Oh guys, I just had to have my third coffee of the day today. So yeah, going back to what we're talking about, social cohesion. So of course, in Serbia, people here have got their differences like in any other country. But the difference between Serbia and my country, the UK for example, is it's much more divided back in the UK, because here in Serbia, like I said, they have their differences, but they've also got some shared values. So they love their country. As we can see, the Serbian flag is everywhere, and they also love God. But the problem, as I see it in the UK, is that we have such a multicultural society, we don't really have any shared culture whatsoever. So everybody, as many of you will know, there's been some big protests in Serbia recently, going on for a long time actually, and these are still continuing. So yeah, you have protests against Vučić, and then you have some counter protests for Vučić. But as people will know from my previous videos, I was at one of these big protests. And yeah, people marching against Vučić. It was only about getting Vučić out of government, so there was no other big agenda there. There was zero LGBTQ flags and other flags of division, let's say. Yeah, everybody, so to summarize, in this country, they love their flag, they love their culture, and they love God. Bloody hell, everybody. Poor bloke, just lying on the ground there. Feel sorry for him, whatever his circumstances are. Okay, everybody, it's nice to be in this little park here in the center, because it's getting pretty hot in the center of Belgrade. There's a lot of concrete, and it's heating up. So yeah, other things about Serbia. There's not too much woke here, so if you're one of these people that wants to escape the woke West, okay, woke only exists in Western countries, all right, pretty much. So there's a lot of people in the West who think that it exists everywhere, but a lot of people realize when they go to another country that it just disappears, so you don't have to deal with it. So if you want to escape all this woke nonsense in the UK, USA, much of the European Union, then come to Serbia. So it's not like Keir Starmer's Britain here, everybody. You're not going to arrive into the airport, then suddenly get arrested for some post that you made on X. Now, everybody, you just have to come one street or so from the very center, and it gets a bit more gritty as you move down towards the riverfront. So moving towards Belgrade Waterfront, we're in a little bit of a sketchy part of town, and I mean there's not no-go zones like we have in many places in Europe, in Serbia, but this kind of area has always been a bit undeveloped and rough, let's say, but pretty much safe. So yeah, everybody, down this street you'll see a lot of people selling this, that and the other. There's a big food market up there, so this is kind of a market area, I suppose. So they're selling second-hand knickknacks, flea market type stuff. There's a university here to the right, and for the last few years this area of Belgrade has been a place where a lot of illegal immigrants have been congregating. So yeah, a couple of years ago there's hundreds of them just hanging around in the park here, maybe looking to connect with people smugglers to get them to the EU borders, and they all disappeared. Well, pretty much most of them, and I suppose that's because they reinforced the borders with Hungary. I'm speculating that's why, I'm not 100% sure. So it might have diverted them on a different route, but they're all coming into Europe still, so they must be taking some other route. Now everyone, just want to talk about personal freedoms as we edge closer to Belgrade Waterfront. So one of the other good things about Serbia is high levels of personal freedom. So some people might disagree in these politically charged times in Serbia, but many of them might not have experience of living in other countries to compare with. So you're pretty much left to your own devices here. You're not being hassled all the time. And I'm not going to make comparisons. I'm not going to say which other countries I'm comparing to, but as long as you don't act stupid in this country, then it's quite fine. I mean, the bureaucracy here is not the best in the world, like many other countries in Eastern Europe, but also not the worst. And maybe if you drive a car here, then you know, there's a lot of police and traffic wardens wishing you to make the wrong move, let's say. Everybody, so Serbia is not like the UK, the police state UK, where they got teams of police people scouring the internet to make sure that you haven't misgendered somebody or said something else naughty. There's more arrests in the UK for things that have been written online than any other country in the world. In Serbia, as I understand it, they don't give a shit about that kind of thing, unless it's something really serious, of course. So here we have it, everybody, Belgrade Waterfront. It looks very nice, I must say. Spotlessly clean. If you came to this country straight away and you came down here, you'd be forgiven for thinking that all of Serbia is like this. But I can promise you it is not. So yeah, this is an exclusive new housing estate or development in the center of Belgrade. Naturally, you pay a high premium for living in this part of the city, but I'm sure you got everything that you need. Look, you got cafes here, restaurants, supermarkets, fitness center. So you could probably, if you're living here, you could probably spend a lot of your time hanging out here and not be bothered about going back up the hill to the city center. Got a nice breeze blowing down here, down the river as well. Let's go and have a look at the river. So here we are, everybody, Belgrade Waterfront. It's nice, I think we can all agree. It looks good. Oh look, we've got Jamie Oliver's Italian restaurant. There we go. Coffee Dream, some other restaurants. So everybody, for a minimum of about 3,000 euros per square meter, up to about 10,000 euros per square meter, you can buy a panoramic view of the transnational sewage system known as the Danube. And if you go to the toilet and do a number 2 and you come downstairs quick enough, you can see it pop out the other end in the Danube. Now everybody, one of the other draw cards for coming to Serbia is the vibrant nightlife. Belgrade has been famous for its lively nightlife for quite some time now, but I think things are changing, you know, because they brought in some new laws about having nightclub establishments in residential areas. So a lot of places in the city are closing earlier than they used to. And in the distance there used to be spellz, like floating nightclubs all down this river. And now there's almost zero left, so it's changing a bit. And I've noticed this on the couple of times I've been out recently. You know, a lot of bars are closing at 11, 12 o'clock, for Christ's sake. And in the old days, when I was more of a party boy, we didn't even go out to about 12 o'clock. But who knows, maybe I just don't know the places to go to, and I'm sure there's areas of the city that are not residential that can open up, stay open much later, like old industrial yards that are being turned into nightlife areas. Guys, so I'm not going to go all the way down there, but once you get further down to that USB stick type thing, there's a big shopping centre. It's a very nice shopping centre. So yeah, Belgrade's got some good shopping. You've got shopping centres all over the place. So everyone, just wanted to say that if you're enjoying this content and having a look around Belgrade, then please consider sending me a donation. It will really help. If you can cover my bus fare to Belgrade today, that'll be much appreciated. So you can send me a donation on my Buy Me a Coffee link, or send me a super chat. Yeah, that would be great. Thanks very much. We can see, everybody, Belgrade Waterfront keeps expanding. I don't know when it's going to finish. It's going to be its own little city soon. Okay guys, so I decided to have a sit down in the shade. It's getting pretty hot. So let's talk about some other aspects of living in Serbia. Cost of living. Generally, it's quite affordable here in Serbia, but prices are going up. But we have to remember that's the same story pretty much everywhere else as well. So it's not unique to Serbia. So here in Belgrade, the biggest expense for a lot of people, if you're coming to this country and you don't own property, is going to be rent. Rents are getting rather expensive here, and the main reason for that is the war in Russia and Ukraine. So a lot of, in 2022 when the conflict kicked off, a lot of Russians moved to the country to avoid sanctions, and you also had a reasonable amount of Ukrainians moving to the country as well. So this isn't the only factor, but it's the major factor. Yeah, everybody, so like I said, if you're coming to live in Belgrade, then quite possibly your biggest expense is going to be rent. So if you want to live in the center of the city, the old town, then if you want a nice studio, you know, with mod cons and that kind of thing, not too big, then you're looking at a price of maybe 700 or 800 euros starting price, and then obviously sky's the limit up to that. But and then you have your utility bills on top of that. So yeah, if you want to live in the very center of the city, then you're going to be spending a minimum of about 1,000 euros for a nice place. But of course, as you move out of the very center into the suburbs of Belgrade, then it gets a fair bit cheaper, but not a huge amount cheaper, all right? So if you're coming to Serbia and planning to rent, you have to consider whether you want to be spending that amount of money on rent, whether you want to be paying somebody else's mortgage. And for some people, they're saying to themselves, no. They're choosing not to live in Belgrade, but to go to other places in Serbia. So the second city in Serbia is Novi Sad, and it's a bit cheaper there. And then you have other cities like Niš and what have you, where it gets substantially cheaper, but also, yeah, life is a bit more gritty, let's say. So I've seen videos online where some people, some foreigners coming to Serbia, have decided they're not interested in the big city life here in Belgrade, and they're moving out in the countryside, because in rural areas you can buy a property for quite a reasonable amount of money. And you know, compared to paying maybe 1,000 euros per month on rent in Belgrade, in a few years you can actually buy something out in the country. But of course, country life isn't for everybody. You don't have the same kind of conveniences out in the countryside. And I think you have to be of a certain mindset to actually live in these kind of places. I've been watching this other YouTube channel about where foreigners who have moved to Serbia are being interviewed, and they're talking about their reasons for moving here. So I think the kind of people that move to this country, for example, digital nomad types, they're perhaps they're spending some time in Schengen, and they can only spend half of the year in the Schengen zone. So for the other half of the year, they're coming to Serbia. Or you have digital nomad types that are not like that. They're just coming here because they like the look of the place. And then you have maybe Serbian diaspora. So they're originally born in this country, and then they move to countries in the West like UK, USA, France, Germany, Australia, and that kind of thing. And then, you know, maybe they decided they'd had enough in the West. It's becoming increasingly dangerous in a lot of Western countries. The cost of living is going up, and many other reasons. So, you know, they come back to Serbia sometimes, and then after a while they think to themselves, you know what, I've had enough in America, I'm moving back to Serbia. I've saved a bit of money, perhaps I can buy myself some modest property. So yeah, I think there's been a fair few people like that in recent years. Or you got Serbs that work online in the West, and then they think, right, you know, I can work online from Serbia and have a much more comfortable lifestyle than I do in the West. Oh guys, I'm getting pretty tired. I was walking on the gravel on the other side of the road and I slipped and I almost went over on my ass. And the worst thing was, there's this really hot girl coming towards me. So it didn't look cool at all. Also everybody, a lot of foreigners are moving to Serbia because of the family values here. So it's a very safe place in which to bring up your children, which is a lot less than can be said for many places in the West where, you know, you're too scared even to let them walk to school alone. Here, almost totally safe, and they really like children in this country, so yeah, fantastic. Yeah, everybody, so as I mentioned, a lot of Russians have moved to Belgrade, so I'm often wondering how they find life in this country, because I've lived in both countries, both Serbia and Russia, so I'm always wondering, you know, what they're thinking about the pluses and minuses of living here. I see some videos online sometimes, so if you're a Russian person and you're living here in Belgrade, then let me know about how life is going for you here. Maybe that's a plan for a future video. I can talk to some Ruskies. You do have a lot of liberal Russians that move to this country, especially from St. Petersburg, but you also have some normal ones that have come here because of sanctions. So they've moved the whole company to Serbia, which is great for the local economy, but not so great for rent prices, unfortunately. There used to be a bar here called Casa Garcia. That, yeah, a really nice place I used to go to back in the day. So if any of the old Casa Garcia crew are watching, then big up. Okay everybody, so here we have one of the central food markets in Belgrade. So if you're living here, don't get your fruit and veg from the supermarkets, because it's quite often worse quality and more expensive. So fantastic range of fruit here. I have noticed the prices of stuff going up on every visit, but such is life. At this time of year, a lot of the summer fruits have gone, but you've got grapes, you've got pears, you've got apples, you've got peaches and nectarines. So yeah, still lots of stuff on offer. Very important, everybody, at this time of year, peppers are very popular. What happens is you're walking down the street and you'll smell roasted peppers, because one of the national dishes in this country is called ayvar, and people make it at home. So at this time of year, autumn, they're roasting these peppers in the oven to make this ayvar sauce. And it's one of the best things to eat in Serbia. So if you're coming to Serbia, make sure you get some ayvar. There's a gypsy woman there giving me evils when I was videoing the market. Maybe she's paranoid. I'm a taxman or something. Yeah guys, if you come to Serbia and you're walking around and you're suddenly feeling a bit faint perhaps, you got a headache, the sweats, the chills, everything, then it's quite likely that somebody's put a gypsy spell on you.
Do not fear me, Gypsy. All I want from you is your tears.
Now, luckily for me, everybody, I spent so much time in Eastern Europe that I'm immune to gypsy curses. But unfortunately for you, you're highly susceptible to gypsy black magic in Serbia. So for a very reasonable price of $99.99, I can remove 99% of all gypsy curses, okay? But everybody, that doesn't include end-of-level baddie gypsy curses. That will be $999.99. So everybody, I'm Only joking, there's a lot of very good gypsies in Serbia, very hard-working. We all know that gypsies are the same wherever you go. There are good gypsies and not good gypsies. Da, 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 da. So yeah, that brings me along nicely to talking about personal safety here in Serbia. So I think I said before, there's generally very safe here, but you do have to watch out for pickpockets, especially if you're a weak target. So if you're going on public transport, make sure you close out your bag properly, you don't have your phone hanging out of your pocket, because there have been multiple instances of people being pickpocketed on public transport, especially here. They normally go after older folk and clumsy tourists, but not exclusively, so be careful. With regard to racism in Serbia, there's almost zero racism. So yeah, if you're black, for example, you'll feel very safe, but who knows, that could change in future if Serbia decide to import lots of people from other cultures. Also, everybody, the education system in Serbia is pretty good. If you're thinking of sending your children to university in the West, but for some reason you're concerned that they might come out gay, then better to send them to Serbia, where there's a much less chance of that happening. Also, everybody, if you're the sporty type, then Serbia is good, because we've got excellent sporting facilities here. But just don't mention football and basketball at the moment, okay? Because Serbia recently got thumped by England 5-0, and they had an early exit from the basketball, unfortunately. Okay, that's about it from me, everybody. Thanks very much for watching this video. I'm absolutely knackered, hungry, and everything else. So yeah, thanks once again, and if you did enjoy this video, please consider leaving me some kind of donation to help with the running costs of this channel and making this video. So you can go to my Buy Me a Coffee link, super chats and all that kind of stuff. So thanks very much, take care, and I'll see you in the next video.